All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is James Kitchen. I serve as the Special Assistant to County Executive Pittman, and I am joined today by the Director of Mentorship Programs for Anne Arundel County Public Schools, Andre Dillard, and also by Jocelyn Potts, who is a School and Community Liaison Specialist in the School Systems Office of Equity. So we thank you for joining us for this sixth webinar in our Engage Arundel webinar series, Connecting the Community with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Engage Arundel is designed to foster collaboration and communication between the government and the community. The initiative combines online and in-person events and resources to empower residents with the knowledge and tools to create sustainable and thriving neighborhoods using county resources. So before we begin, I'd like to quickly go over some housekeeping items to ensure that the session runs smoothly. So please note that today's webinar is being recorded. If you need to step away or if you'd like to review the content later, we will be sending out a recording after the event. Also, a copy of the presentation will be provided. We will save questions for the end. So when it's time, you will either be able to type your question into the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or you can raise that proverbial Zoom hand by pressing the reaction button, and we'll enable you to unmute and ask your question directly. So now I'd like to introduce our presenters. Andre Dillard, a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native, moved to Maryland in 1995. With 31 years in education, Andre spent 16 years as a teacher in Maryland, Cleveland, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York. Most of those years were dedicated to teaching in Title I schools. He also has 15 years of experience as a school administrator. His first 4 years in administration were spent as an assistant principal, with 2 years at Tyler Heights Elementary and 2 years at Georgetown East Elementary. He then served as the principal of Georgetown East Elementary for 11 years. In the spring of 2023, Dr. Mark Bedell, the superintendent of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, appointed Andre to the newly created role of Director of Mentorship Programs. Being passionate about mentoring, Andre is excited to lead the mentoring initiatives across the entire school district. Jocelyn Potts brings over a decade of educational experience, having served as an elementary classroom teacher for 11 years in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, before transitioning to her current role as a school and community liaison specialist in the Office of Equity. She holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education and a master's in gifted and talented education from Notre Dame of Maryland University, and is currently pursuing her doctorate in education from George Washington University. As a dedicated community builder, she focuses on strengthening relationships between schools, families, and the broader community, creating sustainable partnerships that enhance educational outcomes for all students. Through her leadership and community engagement initiatives and unwavering commitment to equity, she works tirelessly to build bridges and create inclusive environments where every student can belong, grow, and succeed. Thank you both so much for being with us. And now I would like to pass it over to you, Andre, for the presentation.
Thanks, James. And good evening, everyone. We appreciate everyone being here. And we are going to pull up our presentation. And here we go. So the first thing we have here is just a kind of a agenda of the things that Jocelyn and I will be covering this evening. And you can see I'm going to start with talking a little bit about our mentorship initiatives and our Be Present movement. Then I'll talk a little bit more about the difference between the Be Present movement and mentorship. We'll talk about the training and other requirements, and then we'll talk about how mentorship is aligned with our new 2024-2029 strategic plan. And here's our logo, which we kind of catered this after the slogan of the school system, which is belong, grow, succeed. But we have AACPS mentorship, which we want to build a rapport with students, empower them, and we want to do that all as we're mentoring. So I'm going to pause here, and you can see that this is a quote from our superintendent, Dr. Mark Bedell. And it asks, why is it important for AACPS to have a mentorship program? And the first line it speaks, then this is a quote from him: the power of mentoring and what has it done for me personally. And just to share a little bit about, just a tiny bit about Dr. Bedell. As a child, as a youth, Dr. Bedell, he had to deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood trauma, and a lot of ups and downs and pitfalls when he was a child into his teenage years. And in spite of all that trauma, he still is our current superintendent. And people might ask, well, how does an individual who had to deal with so much trauma get to be superintendent, who has a doctorate? And he speaks to mentors, that there were mentors all along his life that helped him through all the trauma, through all the different things he had to go through. There was a mentor that was always there to guide him. So he has a grave and deep appreciation for mentorship and how it can definitely change the trajectory of students. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about Be Present and our mentorship initiatives. And they have some similarities, but they are also very different. So our Be Present. So the Be Present is an initiative that was started in 2022 when Dr. Bedell first got here. And his thought behind it was really to get more of our community members involved in what's going on in the schools and volunteering. And so he thought about, like, why can't we just get people just to be present in our school system? And that kind of term kind of caught on. And so he had tagged one of our colleagues at the time, Dr. Sean Ashworth, to lead that initiative. And the thing about Be Present is one of the things that separates Be Present from mentoring is that there isn't as much of a commitment with the Be Present volunteering. It is that, you go through the training that I'll talk about shortly, but it doesn't have the same type of, I'll say, commitment. So with Be Present, you can show up at a school when it's convenient for you, when it's, when you have the time, and you can go in, and you might be in, maybe you're serving in, if you're working in the, or I'll say you're volunteering in the cafeteria, but not as so much as a lunch monitor, but more just talking with the students about how their day's going, giving them encouraging words. Or maybe you're talking with students as they're kind of transitioning in the hallways, if it's at a secondary school, and talking to them, building that kind of rapport, give them encouraging words. But the difference with the mentorship is this is something that is more of it's a bigger commitment. And you can see that you can read the title within the slide here. But with our mentoring, it can be done in one-on-one. We have one-on-one mentoring, but we also have group mentoring. So whichever is best fits people's style and their schedule, you can determine which works best for you. But again, with the mentorship, it is that greater commitment where you're going to say, well, I'm going to come at this time once a week or every 2 weeks or what have you. So there's a commitment that the students are actually looking for you, as opposed to Be Present volunteer. You might just show up because maybe you have a day off or something along those lines. So as far as the requirements, there's a few things that we ask everyone to do. And this is both for the Be Present initiative and for mentorship. Number one, there's a brief application, and you'll see that we'll provide you with a QR code that can take you to that application at the end of this session. But there's a brief application, and then we ask that you would complete an online training form. And you would you would pick one of the training dates. Everyone must complete the background check, which is a fingerprinting. Now, the really cool thing about this is when I stepped into this space, I really thought about what are some things or some barriers that have kept people probably from volunteering in the Be Present initiative or becoming mentoring. And one thing I found was the cost of the background check, which is $63. So now the school system we absorb that cost. So that way, no one has to worry about, already giving their time and resources to serving as a Be Present volunteer or mentoring and having to pay the $63. We, the school system, absorbs that cost, and we cover the cost for everyone to get their fingerprinting and background check done. And so I mentioned, as far as like the mentoring, we have our one-on-one mentoring and we have our group mentoring. And this is some of our sponsors and businesses and companies that are embarking on that group mentoring. We have various community organizations here. You can see the city of Annapolis is listed. We have fraternities and sororities. So these are all individuals who have committed to doing group mentoring within our school system. And the other cool thing about the individuals who do the group mentoring, we list them as community partners on the mentoring/Be Present website. So we kind of give them that little extra incentive that we can say, as someone who's really supporting our schools, we want to highlight you as best as we can and really show our appreciation for the work that you're doing within our schools and working with our students. So we have a brand new strategic plan, right? Our strategic plan covers from 2024 to 2029. And within our strategic plan, we have what we call 5 priorities. And these are things that when the strategic plan was created by all stakeholders and community, including community members, determined that these are the things that we really want to focus on that are going to make our school system premier, right? And you'll see there's achieving academic excellence, future readiness and transitional preparedness, investing in our staff, supporting the whole child. I'm sorry, that should be supporting the whole child, and then building and sustaining our future. So, and you'll see some asterisks by a couple of those, and I'll talk about those a little bit more. So, mentoring. So, research consistently shows that mentoring can have a positive impact on reading levels, with studies showing that students involved in mentoring programs often demonstrate improvements in reading fluency, comprehension, and overall attitude towards reading, especially among the mentoring, specifically focusing on literacy skills, and it includes regular interaction with a minor. So, research shows that when students have a mentor, it has a positive impact on reading, right? A positive impact on reading. So within our strategic plan, one of our pillars under the achieving academic excellence is to increase the percent of students reading on a grade level or above by the end of the 2nd grade for all student groups. So within our mentoring family, we have some organizations and individuals who are focusing on literacy by mentoring, right? We have an organization called STARE, Start the Adventure in Reading. And that particular organization works with 1st and 2nd graders on building their reading comprehension, their fluency, just overall literacy. So that is one of the ways that mentoring is supporting this particular priority within our strategic plan. So research also shows that students with mentors are more likely to stay in school. Mentored youth maintain better grades and are more likely to graduate from high school. Mentoring programs are particularly effective in improving graduation rates among students considered at risk of graduation. So again, another one of our strategic plans, one of our priorities within our strategic plan is a future readiness and transitional preparedness. And within that, goal 3 is to increase the percentage of students who graduate high school in 4 years for all student groups. So that we have within our mentoring portfolio, that's one of the things that we really focus on, especially for those who are working in the secondary schools, working with those high school students, is they're consistently having conversations about what they need to do in order to be able to graduate, especially for those students that might be behind in credits. We have some students that might have been in high school for 3 years, but they're not classified as a junior, even though they've been 3 years, because they're missing some credits. So within our mentorship initiatives and those who are serving those high school students, they can focus in on helping those students to get those credits back, figure out a way so they can get those credits so they can be on track to graduate within those 4 years, or to just to graduate overall. Because some students, right now, they might be behind in a year, but we don't want them to drop out. So we want to focus on at least them staying the course and being able to graduate. So research consistently shows that having a mentor reduces symptoms of anxiety and stress in students. Students with mentors show improved self-esteem and confidence levels. Students who have mentors develop a great sense of belonging. And you can see our mantra there with belong, grow, and succeed. So again, another one of our strategies or priorities within our strategic plan for supporting the whole child. And we want to ensure that social, emotional, mental, physical, and behavioral health and the well-being of all of our students. And so by having a mentor, these young people have someone that can help with all those areas, right? They're working with them, they're talking with them, they're building relationships. And within that realm, they're also helping them as far as their emotional wellness. Sometimes just having that adult to kind of fill in those gaps, having someone to talk to, is so important, and it's so vital for the mental health of all of our students. So this is, again, a space where our mentorship efforts are directly aligned with our strategic plan of supporting all of our students. Research consistently shows that students with mentors are 55% more likely not to skip school. Students with mentors have better school attendance and reduced chronic absenteeism. So again, within that strategic plan of supporting the whole child, we have a goal in there, which is goal 2 of that particular category, which is to increase the percentage of students not chronically absent for all student groups. This is so pivotal for students being able to graduate. They have to come to school. Being able to read on grade level, they have to come to school. So this is why this is a priority. And again, within our mentorship initiatives, our mentors, whether it be one-on-one, whether it be groups mentoring, there is always a focus and concentration on stressing the importance of student coming to school. And sometimes it's even that the mentor will set a goal with the mentee as far as, let's set a goal for you to come to school this percentage of time, or try to figure out and talk about what are things that prevent them from coming to school, what are obstacles and barriers that prevent them from coming to school. So just having that thought partner to talk things out is pivotal. And again, the mentors have a focus on having conversation about the importance of coming to school on time every single day. So again, I talked a little bit about Dr. Bedell and just his thoughts on mentoring. And we often have conversations about having students to have another caring adult who can help them, who can advocate for them, but also teach them how to advocate. And so we ask, all of our community members to really think about and consider becoming a mentor, because it really is something that we really need, we really appreciate, and we want more people from our communities to be involved with our mentorship efforts. Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we have over 85,000 students. That's a lot of students. And if you really think about, even if we got requests for a fourth of those students, that's still a large amount of students, that we would need. So you're talking probably over 20,000 students that would be having requests for our mentors. So we really need our community to get involved as far as wanting to serve in this space, and to ensure that students are on the right trajectory, that students are going to be graduating on time, that students are reading on grade level, that students feel emotionally and physically safe, that students are coming to school. But again, we need the support of our community members to be involved with both our our Be Present initiative, as well as our mentorship opportunities. So here is my contact information. Please take a picture of this QR code, screenshot it, whatever you need to do. And once if you use this QR code, it'll take you straight to our mentorship and Be Present website. And on that website, you will see buttons that says where the brief application is. You'll see a button that talks about the training dates. So look at all that information. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. Here's the contact number for my number. Here's my email address, and I'm willing to just meet people wherever they are when it comes to training, providing this vital service to our students. And so now I'm going to pass it over to my esteemed colleague, Ms. Jocelyn Potts.
Thank you, Mr. Dillard, and good evening again, everyone. And as Mr. Dillard said, thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Jocelyn Potts, and I have the privilege of serving as one of 2 school and community liaison specialists in the Office of Equity. And part of my role is to focus on community engagement. My colleague and I, Alba Morales, we are community facing. And what that means is we support our schools by engaging with our community, leveraging our community for the benefit of our students. So let's talk about briefly, what is community engagement? So partnerships, we really want to focus on a partnership between our schools, our families, and our broader community, all in the efforts of supporting the social, emotional, and educational development of our youth. Community engagement should be intentional, and it should be strategic, not haphazard. It should be high impact, and I really want to focus on high impact because as Mr. Dillard was going through our strategic plan and the district's efforts to make sure that all students belong, grow, and succeed, one of the ways that we do that is engaging with our community to ensure that we have high impact for the success of our students. Community engagement should also be collaborative. It should be culturally responsive, and it should be focused on improving outcomes for all students. So we just a minute ago talked about high impact, and I just briefly want to talk about when it comes to family engagement and community engagement, what some examples of high impact strategies on student learning could possibly be. So long time ago, back in the day, maybe when I was growing up, or maybe when some of you were growing up, community engagement may have looked like, attending celebrations at school. It may have looked like attending fundraisers or potlucks. And all of those things are wonderful. There's a place for them. They are great. But again, we want to focus on high impacts and moving our students forward in all areas of their academic career. So high impact would look like collaborating with families, collaborating with the broader community to ensure goal setting for our students, to ensure that we are looking at data, unpacking data, and figuring out ways that we can meet students where they are in order to ensure academic success. Community engagement that's high, that yields high impact looks like families participating in classroom observations. It looks like parents helping on learning projects. So again, high impact looks like collaborative relationships between our students, our schools, our families, and our broader community. And all families deserve to have access to the information and the connections that they need. And that's part of my role in the Office of Equity. So community engagement versus community involvement. So a minute ago, I talked about what some of us may have been used to coming up in the public school system, the potlucks and the celebrations, the one-off celebrations. But there is a difference between community engagement and community involvement, and I just briefly want to share a little bit about that. So one of the dictionary definitions of involve is to enfold or envelop, whereas one of the meanings of engage is to come together and interlock. So when I think about community engagement, I think literally about forming a human bridge where we are locked and loaded, we are arm in arm, we have rolled up our sleeves, and we have a common goal and a common focus. So involvement implies doing to, whereas in contrast, engagement implies doing with. So really, again, focusing on that collaboration between all settings for the success of our students. Engagement is a shared responsibility of families, of schools, and the broader community for student learning and achievement. It is continuous from birth to young. So as soon as our children are born, that community engagement is so pivotal for the trajectory throughout their academic career. And it continues into young adulthood. It occurs across multiple settings. So we don't want community engagement that is in isolation. We want it across multiple settings so that, again, we can point back to our strategic plan and talk about how are we benefiting the whole child. So as school and community liaison specialists, my colleague and I, here are some ways that we support our schools. So we help our schools to develop effective family engagement strategies. We help our schools create and implement community partnership plans, partnership development assistance. We help our schools with and guide them with equitable engagement practices. We also assist our schools with needs assessments and community mapping for the benefit of our students. We help our schools by building the capacity of our teachers, our staff, and even caretakers and community members if requested by the schools. We support our schools by helping them with planning and supporting in-school and out-of-school events or programming. And we also assist them with post-event surveys, which is important because as we are planning and schools are very, very busy, it's also important that the events that we're planning are focused, again, that they're strategic, that they have high impact. So we want to always gather data from our events to make sure that we are accomplishing those high impact goals. And here are some ways that we support our community partners. So in this position, my colleague Alba and I, we serve as a liaison between school and community partners. We help our community partners by promoting and attending and supporting community events that would support our students, our families, and our school. And we also provide resources and support for engagement. So if there are community members, if there are community organizations that really want to lock arms with our schools and with our students, our position helps to facilitate that and helps our community partners figure out how they can best serve and give back to the community, in addition to the Be Present initiative and the mentoring initiative that Mr. Dillard talked about. So here are just some best practices for equitable engagement, and I won't spend too much time on this, but just wanted to include this here because these are some of the things that we help our students and our schools with. We really want to focus and help our schools make sure that they're focusing on impact, not necessarily intent, right? We want to make sure, again, that we have high impact strategies that are focusing on student achievement for all student groups. We want to make sure that we are creating community asset maps so that schools are also really reaching out to the community, finding ways to leverage our community partners, our businesses, our organizations, and our families for the interests of our students. We also promote best practices with equitable engagement by making sure that our partnerships are mutually beneficial. So yes, they need to be beneficial for our students, but also how can they be beneficial to our community partners? If there are organizations in the community that want to partner with Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we want that to be a mutually beneficial partnership, whether that's internships, right? Whether that is includes hiring our students, whether it includes the mentoring, we want it to be mutually beneficial. And we also want to make sure that our teachers, our schools, and our community partners know their why and that they're able to communicate the why behind the work that we do for our students. So here is the contact information for myself, Jocelyn Potts, and my colleague, Alba Morales. Please feel free to take a screenshot of that if you are looking for additional ways to partner with Anne Arundel County Public Schools, in addition to the Be Present, which we would love to have you, in addition to mentoring, which we would love to have you. If you're looking for additional ways to engage with Anne Arundel County Public Schools, please feel free to reach out to myself or my colleague, Alba Morales. One other example of ways that the Office of Equity is leveraging our community engagements is by a program that the Office of Equity is happy to announce, and that program is called Parent-Teacher Home Visits Model. My colleague, Alba Morales, has been a champion of this program, and she is apologizing for not being able to be on with us tonight. But just to tell you a little bit about this program, we call it PTHV for short. Again, it's Parent-Teacher Home Visits. It is designed to promote mutually trusting, accountable, and supportive relationships. It encourages open lines of communication. It cultivates a partnership mindset between educators and families. This partnership creates new pathways for families to engage with the school and their children's coursework. So again, mutually beneficial partnerships in collaboration with each other. It also allows for teachers to apply in the classroom setting what they have learned about their students while out in the community. So the Office of Equity is pleased to announce that we have an introduction to our home visits training program. We will have this for our staff members coming up on February 27th. It will be virtual for our staff members, and we're excited to pilot 3 schools: Glen Burnie Park Elementary School, Mary Moss Academy, and Tyler Heights Elementary School. Some other schools will participate by invitation only, but the reason why the Office of Equity is initiating these parent-teacher home visits is to build the capacity of educators to effectively create meaningful relationships with their students and in their immigrant families specifically, starting with a voluntary home visit. So if you would like more information about our parent-teacher home visits, please reach out to my colleague, Alba Morales, as she is the advocate and the champion behind this wonderful program that the Office of Equity is initiating. Thank you so much for being here again with us, and I will turn it back over to Mr. Dillard.
Yes, I would like to speak about a couple different things because I think Ms. Potts, you brought up some, you brought up some things that I wanted people to make sure that we both kind of touched upon, right? You talked about community partners and really, as a school system, the work we're trying to accomplish, the places we're trying to take our students to, we need the support of our community. Like, so that community partner piece is so vital for us really to be able to move the needle and to help all of our students. So that's number one. And then you talked about, these initiatives being mutual beneficial. And I definitely feel like anyone who steps in these spaces as far as volunteering and really supporting our schools, working with our community liaison specialists, you get something out of it. And obviously it's more intrinsic, but the feeling of seeing a student be successful, the feeling of seeing your mentee when they come to you and they're like, look at my report card, look at my grades, or the feeling of when you set a goal and that mentee is able to reach that goal, they feel so empowered, but also you feel great about it because you've had something to do with it, right? And the other thing is really thinking about the why. Our why is so important because that's what really fuels us to really want to step into these spaces. So when you're thinking about volunteering, when you're thinking about the Be Present initiative, the mentoring, or really working as a community partner with the schools, think about your why, because that's what really should fuel you. And I'm going to put Ms. Potts on the spot right now because she is a wonderful mentor. And I would love for her, just, from your perspective, Ms. Potts, because I want the people to really hear about how beneficial and how special our mentoring initiatives is from someone other than me.
Absolutely. Thank you for putting me on the spot. I always appreciate that. But yes, I have the pleasure of serving as a mentor, and many of our colleagues do as well. And that's one of the things that I'm so excited about and so blessed to be a part of, that Dr. Bedell has really pushed this initiative forth and allowed staff members to participate as mentors. And my mentee is a young lady in third grade. And we are really establishing a mutual relationship of trust and of respect. And I will tell you that I am disappointed when I'm not able to make my appointment to see her. I visit with her weekly, but recently I had some travel. So we missed 2 weeks and I let her know ahead of time. And she looked at the calendar and she said, so exactly when are you coming back to see me? And I just love that because she's holding me accountable, right? And as your mentees begin to trust you and you begin to build that mutual relationship of respect, they will hold you accountable as well as you're able to hold them accountable, right? We talked about mutually beneficial. We all can do a better job of being held accountable. And I just love the fact that these young people open up to us. They respond well once we really make an impact and an initiative to build relationships. So as a mentor, I don't go in, to lay the hammer and to say, tell me about your grades and how's your behavior. That's secondary, right? That will come after you have built relationships. That will come after you have established trust with your mentee. So I encourage you, it is a joy, it is a delight. We play games together, we play Uno, we play Connect Four, and I have not won a round yet. So that's one of my goals, is to win a round of Connect Four against her. So it is a pleasure, and I just really appreciate Mr. Dillard for all of his efforts in allowing us to do this.
Thank you, Ms. Potts, and thank you for being willing to be on the spot. But I know that your experience as a mentor has really just been fabulous. And so Ms. Potts mentioned about that she goes once a week, and we're not asking everyone to do that. We ask, what can you give? So it doesn't have to be once a month. And we talk a little bit more about that in the training. And the other thing is, when it comes to mentorship, this is not a set curriculum, right? There's not something that's like by the book. It's really about building relationships. And we really do a good job, I feel like, in our training, which is very comprehensive and helps people to feel more comfortable in stepping into the space of becoming a mentor. So really, it starts with the the will and wanting to do this and wanting to be very impactful with your time that you can put with a student.
All right, thank you both. I think we're at the point of the program where we can handle questions. And so again, there are two ways that this can work. You can either raise your hand on the Zoom screen, the Zoom function for that, and I will give you the ability to unmute yourself and you can ask your question verbally. Or if you'd prefer, you can type your question into the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and then I will read your question for you, and our two panelists here will answer it. So first up, I see Sam Cordero has his hand up, so I am unmuted you. You should be able to unmute yourself and ask your question now, Sam.
Sure, no, absolutely. I'm Sam Cordero. I work for Anne Arundel Community College. And then I'm here. I think this is a great program. I'm here if you need any help with the students, especially any areas. Mostly my area, I work with students, with Anne Arundel County Public School before, especially with college transition, when it comes to college transitions, but any to help. And now my question will be to on these programs that we kind of do all these activities. Do we so what would be the so do we work with the students for all grades, elementary, middle school, high school?
Mr. Cordero, that's a great question. So that really is up to you. So the way it works is once you kind of go through the training, I would send you a survey, and it just asks you some very specific questions. Like, for example, are you interested in a particular school? Is there a particular grade? So our mentoring initiatives cover from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. So that's really up to you. Where do you feel you can best be served? Where do you feel comfortable? What age do you feel like comfortable? So we leave that up to you, because I can tell you that we have requests for students to have mentors from all of our grades. And it's not like there's one grade overwhelming more than other, or there's one level of schools. Like we don't have more elementary compared to high school. It's almost like a third when it comes to requests. So wherever you feel you're comfortable, whatever grade level, we can pair you up with someone.
All right, thanks, Andre. Any other questions? Either raise your hand or go ahead and type it in the Q&A. Right, I see Sharon Hockenberry. I think I have given you permission. You should be able to unmute yourself now and ask your question, Sharon.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. My name is Sharon Hockenberry. I am a 30-year resident here in Annapolis, and I'm a small business owner. I don't have a question, but I have an offer. And I also want to reach out to Sam also with Anne Arundel Community College, because I see a way where I can help you guys, if you're interested, bridging from the K through 12, especially the 11th and 12th grade, bridging them to the community college level. Because what I've done here in Annapolis is I have put together a prototype. I have a software company, and I put together a prototype that is driven by community engagement and data visualization and data storytelling. And we have a very compelling story to tell, because up until March of 2020, I had a satellite office on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And at the time, I had more business than I could handle. If you've ever heard the quote, I've more money than time, because I had a pipeline of like 2 years. I was supporting the state of Michigan DHHS, where they asked me to help them do data quality for all of their homelessness databases. So I was supporting them, and I was also supporting Head Start and foster care in Detroit, living in Florida. But when COVID hit, I had to pack up my stuff, put it in storage in Clearwater, and then evacuate back to Annapolis, where I have a condo here in Annapolis for 30 years. So I live within a half mile of the wastewater treatment plant. Have you guys heard of a group,
Yep.
Clean Air Action Group? That
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we started that where we engaged the community to collect data on the odor. We've collected 5,000 odor complaints,
Yeah.
and we have now, and I have a data visualization platform so that we have been able to use this data to present to Department of Public Works and the county, so that they are now going to implement odor enhancements in the county.
Yeah.
So within 1 year, we were able to make this all happen. So I would like to work with STEM at Anne Arundel Community College and pay them through my company and teach them how to, build these routines. So
Sure.
however I can help you guys,
Yeah,
out to
we
me and I'll help.
appreciate that, Sharon. That's great work, and I'll tell you that from my perspective, we've gotten hundreds of emails about that odor issue. So
Oh, you're
well done there.
joking.
I'm not, but we will. Their contact information is in the slides. We will send that out afterwards.
Yeah.
And so you can email any of us, and they can reach out as well. But we appreciate the work that you do.
Yeah, and
Thank you for
I'm
being here
willing
with us
to help
today.
other than the wastewater treatment
Yeah.
plant. So
Understood.
however I can help, I want to help.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right. So we do have a couple questions in the chat. So one is a question says, can you do a combo of mentorship with the STAIR program? And then also just confirmation, they're saying they're assuming that the Be Present initiative also requires the fingerprinting and the background check.
So to the first question, yes, you can do a combination of the two. So STAIR is one of our partners, our community partners, and so we support each other, right? So members of the STAIR, they have, I can't speak to all the details, but I know they have a kind of a training process they do as far as, because they are doing working with students as far as literacy, and the reading focus or curriculum they have aligns with what we're doing as a school system. So there's a training there. So you can be a part of STAIR, but you can also still serve as a mentor if you want to do a one-on-one mentor, or if you want to be doing some group mentoring outside of STAIR. So there you can do a combination. As a matter of fact, I just did a training about 2 weeks ago with a group from STAIR that wanted to say they also wanted to do some one-on-one mentoring, because the STAIR program occurs after school hours. So after school lets out, that's when the STAIR program kicks in. But a lot of those individuals wanted to also be able to serve as mentors during the day. So there's ways that you can serve, multiple ways, combinations, whatever fits best for people's schedules. And then the second question was
Fingerprint, and I think you covered it in the slides, but just confirming that the Be Present initiative
Yes.
also requires the background check and
Yes,
fingerprints.
both of those do require the background checks. And again, that's something that we do cover the cost. So once you go through the training, we give you a voucher that you can present when you go to get your fingerprinting done at central office.
Awesome. All right. And so we've got another question. It's, how long is the mentorship training program? How many hours? A week's worth of training or longer? What does the mentorship training program briefly cover?
So it's 2.5 hours, give or take. And so we cover, there's 5 sections to it. So the first section is just the strength of positive relationship building. The second piece is we do something that's called multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS, and that kind of hones in on just how we meet students' individual needs and not putting students in a box, and knowing that their students come with different experiences and different situations that we have to be able to kind of address and meet them where they are. And then we do a section on implicit bias. There's a section on safety and school security. And then there's a section where we focus strictly on the component of mentoring. And again, it's about 2.5 hours. It's a one-time shot, but periodically I do check in with all of our mentors to see where they are, if there's other additional supports that we can provide for them and their mentee.
All right. And is this training, is it Zoom or is it in person?
It's in person due to the sensitive nature of, we want to be able to interact with people. And so we definitely feel that it's important to do this in person. There is not a virtual option, but the one thing I will say is when people go to the website and you go on and you'll see where you hit the button that says training dates. So it lists all the training dates. But if there are groups that say, we have a group that those training dates are mentioned, that's not going to work for us. My team and we're willing to come out and train people outside of those hours because we really it's so important to get people trained and in our schools and working with our students. So we are flexible. We'll meet people where they are when it comes to the training.
Awesome. Okay, another one is, are you all willing to give this presentation to other organizations and community groups?
Yes, we are. We'll take Ms. Potts and I have taken our show on the road, and we will do that because, again, we feel that the work we do is so impactful, and we want people to hear about what we're doing and give people the opportunities to sign up. So we are willing to take the show on the road and present to whoever, whenever.
Awesome. All right, we've got a couple more in the chat here. So one is just on timelines. So this is a person saying that they completed the mentorship training, their fingerprinting. So we appreciate in advance the fact that you have done that already. But they've been notified that they would have been contacted, that they will be contacted. It's been several days. So who are they, do you expect to hear from after you've done fingerprinting? About how long is that? Is that your shop?
So it's definitely my shop. And so what we do is, so once individuals have gone through the training and they've gotten the fingerprinting and clearance, then I reach out to, depending on if they're, the school that they chose, or if they say, I'm open, then I'll look at some, where there's a great need, and I'll reach out to the school's mentor liaison. So every school has someone who's been assigned to serve as a mentor liaison, and they are the bridge between myself and finding the mentees at the schools and finding a perfect match for the mentors. So I will definitely, what we would do is I contact that mentor liaison, put them in contact with the potential mentor, and we figure out a student that they're going to possibly be a mentor to. We send a permission slip home to the parents because the parents have to sign off on this. And then from there, the mentor liaison helps us to schedule the first session of, within the school. So can you see if you can get the individual's name, and I can definitely double check, or if they want to put in the chat and double check on where the status of things and make sure that we get them paired up.
Yeah. So it was submitted anonymously. So I would just say,
okay,
to throw it in.
Yep,
yeah, let us know, or
yeah. And I can go back tomorrow and look at where from the individuals who have been trained recently, and look at the surveys that I've gotten to make sure I'm staying on top of that.
Yeah. All right. And Andre, she did just put in the chat, I think it's Sherry Schiller. So if we can look into that one, that'd be great.
Oh, yes. I definitely remember Miss Schiller, and because I think I remember her, and I remember the school that we're looking at her. So I'm going to double check with that school tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Schiller. Thank you.
No, we appreciate both of y'all. I have another question is, for the background check, do you need to have a social security number?
That much I'm not as well versed in the background check and the requirements. I do know that we have a fingerprinting office at Riva Road Central Office, and they take care of all that. I would assume that is something that they are going to ask for on the background card that they do, but I'm not 100% sure. What I would advise them to do is they can call to Central Office 410-222-5000 and just ask to speak to someone within the fingerprinting office, and they can give more of those details.
Okay. All right. We appreciate that. We've got a question that asks if we could just show the website one more time. Just saying they didn't get to see it the first time. So I'll throw it up. Hold on really quick. See if I can get it right back to that slide. All right. So I'm throwing it up right there. I'll leave it up here just for a second. But as a reminder, again, both this presentation and the overall recording of this webinar, we will email out to you, hopefully tomorrow, but at least by Friday. We will get this out to you within the next couple of days. And so you will have all of this contact information, the QR code to the website, and all of that will directly hit your web or your inbox. And then we will also put it up on the EngageArundel portion of the county webpage. So we will definitely make sure you get all this information. And then We've got a couple more questions here. When do mentors meet with the students? Is it at lunch? Is it during recess, during class?
That's a great question. So again, that's where we lean heavily on our mentor liaison at the school. And we also want to be mindful of our volunteers, their schedules. So we are very flexible. So the mentor liaison, myself, we work with the mentor to see what's going to be best for them. It definitely does. It happens during the school day, but it doesn't necessarily have to be at lunch. It doesn't have to be, in the morning. Like we'll try to figure out a time that's going to work out best for the mentor and the mentee, because again, we realize that people are giving their time and we can't, dictate what that looks like. So we're very flexible about that. And we really appreciate everybody's being in this space. So we want to be mindful of that.
All right. And then what are the expectations of the mentor during summer breaks, if any? Or I guess maybe anytime school's out of session.
That's a really great question, because we definitely want that bond to continue. So a couple of things that we're working on doing is trying to figure out on doing a big group or some group mentoring events over the summer, so you can still stay in contact with the mentee. There's definitely always ways where you can stay in contact via email. Things that we kind of encourage mentors not to give their personal cell phone numbers, but there's other ways where we can kind of communicate with the students, maybe a Google Voice number, because we still want that bond to continue. And if they're doing sporting events, going to their sporting events over the summer is always important, or other events that they might be involved in is always a great way to stay connected.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Are there any other questions? You can either, again, type them in the Q&A or raise your hand. All right. We got Sam is raising his hand again. All right. Sam, you should be able to unmute and ask your question.
Yes, no, absolutely. So I was wondering, when you touch that part, maybe do you guys maybe creating I was just looking at like a mentoring site or something where alumni, former mentors, so that everybody can collaborate together, some sort of collaboration tool that might be excellent for that. I do also, in addition to, my ACC background, I'm an academic advisor and I'm here to help. I used to work for Fort Meade at NSA. I'm a former senior software developer for years. So any area also in STEM, I'm happy to help. But I think this is a fantastic way to reconnect for Anne Arundel County Public School. I think this is a great, and I just applaud you.
And thank you for the compliment. And so to answer your question, the first one, so we have a space where once individuals have gone through the mentor training and they've been assigned a mentee, where there are some spaces, some Google Docs and things of that nature that we do have, where people kind of can communicate and post different things that they're doing with their mentees, share out some things, maybe that something comes up they want to get some advice or feedback on. So we do have some space where individuals can talk and kind of talk about what's going on with their mentees, or things they might need support of. We also do a couple of different events over the course of the year. We just recently, in January, which was National Mentoring Month, we had a celebration, just celebrating all of our mentors and the job that they do. And we last year, we also did something at the end of the school year just to kind of celebrate and thank all of our mentors for all the great work that they're doing. So we do have some opportunities for our mentors to talk amongst each other. And Sam, we would love, your expertise, especially building that partnership with the community college, because again, for those who are serving as mentors to our secondary students, we want them to know that there are other options other than maybe our 4-year school. You can look at the community college, and we want them to know that we have a phenomenal community college here in Anne Arundel County, and take advantage of it.
All right. Any last questions? Well, I just again want to thank everyone for taking the time to be with us this evening. Mr. Dillard, Ms. Potts, thank you so much for your time and just for doing what you do for our students each and every day. Everyone, look out for the email. Again, by the end of the week, that will just have this video, the presentation, and a survey so that we can always improve the webinars that we bring to you, and be on the lookout for our announcement for our next Engage Arundel webinar that will be in March. But everyone have a great evening.